Okay, so thank you very much, and good evening again. Thanks for your invitation. And I wanted to start with a bit of a negative input. This is the trailer of a documentary a friend of mine has made about this lack of children in the world. So we may ask ourselves, why is this happening? And sometimes we find it, how can I say, difficult to explain and difficult to admit, to accept. But it is a fact that the number of children people are having worldwide is every year less. And if we want to solve a situation, we need to start by knowing reality. You may tell me, well, this is not happening in Africa. Well, it's not happening as much in Africa as in other places. But I can tell you, for instance, the average number of children a Kenyan woman used to have in 1989 was 6.7. In 2022, it was 3.4. So practically half of what it used to be. Now, why is this happening? We can try to find many explanations, but one of them, and I think a very clear one, is lack of family policies. We just saw an example of a national law that promotes a series of family policies. Let me put it this way. Family policies and social policies in general are like medications, like pills, like remedies. So when a person is diagnosed with some kind of illness, they will usually go to a doctor, and a doctor will give them some treatment. And this treatment is basically, usually, pills. Same happens with societies when an illness is diagnosed, that then social policies are established to solve that illness. And I think this comparison is very timely now, very, very appropriate, because what we need to solve this problem is not to ignore it, of course, not to have a kind of nostalgic view of saying, well, I wish we were in the old times, not having an attitude of not understanding it, because we have to understand why it is happening. But this attitude of saying, okay, let's analyze it, let's fix what has to be solved, let's have a prescription, okay, with expected outcomes, a prescription that can prevent the illness to grow and heal what has been done up to now. You can tell me, well, it's difficult to think that this lack of children can grow. Well, I can tell you it is growing. Among other things, I am talking to you from Paris tonight, and I've been today with a group of postgraduate students, as I'm doing in other European countries, to prepare an event we are having at the European Parliament in the end of the month to try to explain why young people in Europe now say, not all of them, but a considerable amount of them say, we don't want to have children because of the situation of the planet, because of climate change. How has this happened? Well, we need to face it, to prevent, as I was saying, and to heal what has been done. Also, having always in mind that as it happens with medication, we need to establish the right dose, the right frequency, and also to consider side effects. Some social policies don't produce only good effects, but also bad side effects. For instance, when in Europe has happened quite often, people who decided to have children were helped by giving them money. Sometimes that money became the main reason to have children, which is obviously not the best one. That's why what Raymond was mentioning, having a report every 5 years, can be very important, because these policies need to be evaluated. So that maybe something that seemed very good, after some months, it's clear that it needs to be changed, or at least it needs to be adapted, it needs to be customized. Just as when we are ill and we go to a doctor, the doctor, after prescribing us a treatment, will say, come back in 15 days, in 1 month, and let's see how this treatment is working, to adjust it if necessary. So what I wanted to tell you is that this illness that we can see now worldwide, the main illness produced by the illnesses of families themselves, not having strong families, needs adequate social policies in every country. Are these policies enough? Usually not. Also, there needs to be education in the family. We will talk about this at the end. But it's necessary, but not enough. And why are those policies important? Because nowadays, many families need to be helped. There are many studies showing that in every society, there will be around 20%, 17, 19, 20, 21, in some countries even 23% of people who will have children in every situation, because children, for them, having a strong family is a priority. But then also there are, on the other side, 15, 16, 17% of women who will never have children for different reasons. Okay, this is very difficult to change with family policies, both extremes. But then we have in the middle 60-something% of society who will decide the number of children according to the situation of these policies. Many times, people who really find it difficult to have children for different reasons. If they get this support, they will have them. So, what we try to establish in our work at the UN, at the United Nations, is that the role of the state, which is the important topic behind this, is not the same for all families. For the first group I was talking about, the state needs to respect families that work. And if they don't need any help, it's good. They will work on their own. And they will fulfill their social role. And then responsible citizens, citizens who are good professionals, citizens who pay taxes, citizens who really are able to fulfill the social role will grow. Then, in this second group I was talking about, the state needs to support with a triple recognition. First, maybe, if it's possible, economic recognition, economic support, financial support, if you want. But then also professional support. Women, if they want to have children and they need to work, they need some kind of help when they have to stay at home with children. Why shouldn't that time be considered as probably the most important time in women's life? And then also a social recognition. I mean, society needs to recognize the importance of having children because they are the future of society. And then there is, as I said, a first group, a second group. The first needs respect, the second needs support, and there is always a third group that needs intervention. Sometimes some families needs to be replaced because for different reasons they are not able to fulfill their roles because, I don't know, both parents are alcoholic, for instance, or they are both in prison, or there are many reasons for it. So I think if we consider these family policies as remedies, and as remedies that don't need to do the same with all families, but they need to prescribe what is better for each kind of family, for each one, then they can be very, very successful. So, because, how can I say it? If we go to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 16, as you may know, says that family deserves to be protected because a woman and a man have the right to start a family. So this is a human right. And this is a human right with incredible social effects. When we talk, for instance, about sustainable development, we may think that sustainability has to do only with environment. But to make a society really sustainable, the most important thing is having strong families, because they are really the essence of a society. Then I could give you a lot of numbers, but I'm not going to get into it because I'm sure that you already know what's going on in your country and in many other countries. So that many families don't find the way to be really stable. I mean, and this is very, very important. In every human project, you need first to design it, but then to have some time to make it real with the contribution of all partners or stakeholders or everyone that has to do with it. A family is a human project, a very important one. And then it needs first to be designed. So a couple, before they get married, they need to decide what is their family project. And then it takes time. I mean, it takes time to have children and then to devote time, effort, and money in raising them. This is not a question of 3 months or 3 years. So there should be this commitment, and that is why marriage has what marriage has done during many centuries and in many ways continues to do. But commitment is essential, as in every human endeavor. And if I want, I don't know, if I want to build a house, a big building, I need to get different people involved into it. And they should get committed to do their job. And if they don't do their job, something has to happen. They can't just walk away. So same happens with parents. When parents have children, and this is, as I'm trying to say, what we should promote as a very important mission, not because we're trying to impose anything, but because we try to tell young people that having children, having a family, is the best investment they can do for their future. So, because we see there are fewer children in the world, but we also see that there are many lonely people who need care. People because they are ill, they are handicapped, they're old, they need the help of people around who often just don't exist. So we need to explain this in a very nice way, but in a very effective way. And that's why, for instance, in the set of Sustainable Development Goals, we fight to introduce target 5.4, which says that the value of unpaid care and domestic work should be recognized, and shared responsibility within the household and the family should be promoted. Now maybe you can say, well, okay, this is all very interesting, but what has this to do with my role as a parent? I'm not a lawmaker. I'm not Raymond Mutura, who is working on changing family policies. I am a parent who has a job and has children, and he has enough efforts to take and enough work to do to think of other things. Well, there are many things you can do, and if I may say it, I would say you should do. Because when parents work and families work, then other people show it and get encouraged for it. Maybe we can even stay in medical terms and say that a good family relationship is very contagious. So if you, I wouldn't say if your family works very well, but if people say that you really make the effort to make your family work, others would be encouraged. And I have here to finish, like some very specific points. First, prioritize family time. There is no better time, according to its effects, than the time we spend with family. Creating regular routines for meals, family outings, share activities, making sure that family bonds are all the time strengthened. Second, foster open communication. And you know better than me that this is not easy because our children grow and they have to pass through different stages in life. We find it also difficult to recognize them, but it's very important that this communication is not broken. So be ready to listen to them, not to feel angry or against them in any way. Third, instill positive values, and you teach values by living them. Respect, empathy, responsibility, kindness, etc. Emphasize the importance of education, of lifelong learning. Don't be afraid to show that we are all learning every day. As I told you, I had today this session with very young postgraduate students. And when I finished, I said, it's incredible how many things I can learn from what they were saying. But we can also learn, and we should. Then promote what is called nowadays emotional well-being, emotional intelligence, mental well-being, teach coping mechanisms with stress management, the importance of seeking help when needed. 6, foster independence. As children grow up, they need to be more independent. 7, be involved in community activities. Our I-50 courses, for instance, promote this, the interchange of experiences between parents. Teach financial responsibility. Instill the value of budgeting, saving, making good, informed financial decisions. Then teach children to appreciate and respect differences in culture, race, and perspectives while valuing what they have received at home. Nowadays in the world we have a lot of polarization, and we need to, I think, we need to try to stop that, and we can only stop that if we start at home. Then educate children about responsible and safe use of technology. This could be a whole, and I think you already had a session about this. Then encourage healthy habits, balanced nutrition, regular exercise, sufficient sleep, prioritize mental and physical well-being, and then finally, seek support when needed. I think you are so lucky as to have your children in a university that I know that tries to help not only students, but parents, and sometimes parents even before the students. In a nutshell, parents play a very important role in shaping the quality of family life. It's not easy, it takes effort, but it's that effort precisely what is needed for our children to need. As you know, the federation I work for recognizes this importance of addressing all those issues, and supports educational and training programs that equip parents to become better parents. So you also have them at your disposition. I think I will stop here, And of course, we'll be more than happy to reply any questions if there are any. Thank you very much.